Alright guys, so I'm going to do a review of Carnage Reigns. This was a quote-unquote Carnage event that happened not too long ago. It was a storyline that happened about earlier this year, like earlier this summer during the Summer of Symbiotes, as they called it. And it actually kind of released at the perfect time. You know, this actually just came out in trade like a week or so ago. This is something that Chris didn't send to me. This is something I got out of pocket because I wanted to read it. Carnage events can be very hit and miss. And they can either be... And none of them are really good. I mean, there's Carnage miniseries. There's the biggest Carnage event we had was Absolute Carnage. And then we had the Absolute Carnage sequel, which was, Extreme Carnage. And this was the latest of those the Carnage events. And, yeah, I wonder how many more times I can say Carnage in a sentence before people get sick of me. So, what is this event? It's not really an event, per se. It's more of a... It's kind of a mini event, really. It actually is kind of an event, but not like a large scale, like, hey, we're doing like everyone's getting affected. Really, this is more Miles versus Cletus. This is really what it is. It's Miles Morales versus Cletus and Tony and another character they've been trying to hype up, the Red Goblin, Norman Osborn's grandson, in the event too. So what is Carnage Reigns? So a little context. Basically, Cletus Cassidy and the Carnage symbiote are not together anymore. The symbiote is off in the multiverse, killing gods and whatnot, and trying to kill a version of Null. That's a whole thing. That is a whole thing. And meanwhile, Cletus Cassidy has bonded with a old Iron Man armor that had Extremist in it, as well as a piece of the Dragon symbiote that Iron Man used to make that. So Cletus has been using that as a normal symbiote. It's also where a serial killer who worshipped Cassidy and wanted to be the new Carnage spurs Cletus into a new killing spree. And he's got a new plan, and Miles has been thrown into it. Miles, of course, did have a traumatic experience of being possessed by Cletus in Absolute Carnage, and this actually does that. Meanwhile, you have Miles encounter a agent who's been pursuing him, Agent Gao, who has a new team of supervillains called the Cake Killers who are working for her, one of whom is Scorpion. And Mac has some problem. Mac wants Cletus dead because, well, he crippled him. He crippled him during Absolute Carnage, and Miles was there too. So this ragtag group of villains and heroes have to team up in order to stop Carnage from killing everybody. This is just a modern day Maximum Carnage, and it's way less parts. It's I'd say about 8 parts. It's really like 8, counting Carnage Reigns Alpha and then Omega that ends the story. This is really just an 8-part book, which really Maximum Carnage should have been, not 14 parts. So Carnage Reigns doesn't pretend that it's like some deep event that's going to like forever change the Marvel universe. They were just like, hey, can we do an event with Miles? He's getting a movie, he's getting a new Spider-Verse movie this year. Can we do that? And they're like, yeah, sure. Do something with Carnage. And lo and behold, it is. So the event is basically the event is written by Cody Ziegler, and I gotta look up and hopefully I pronounce this name. Alex Paknadel? I hope I'm saying those names right. And it's those two writers. Even though Ram V was doing his first 2 volumes of the Carnage ongoing that set up this storyline and the Web of Carnage that's going on right now. Yeah, I don't know why Carnage needs an ongoing, but he got one. It's not bad. It's a nice horror comic. And it's pretty cool. This does a lot with Absolute Carnage in that there is a lot of fear and trauma that Miles is already going through, and now you throw in Cassidy, who he's genuinely afraid of because of what he did to him psychologically during Absolute Carnage, but Miles stays there and gets in the fight. Even teaming up with Scorpion, and I actually love this thing with Miles where he teams up and befriends Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. He was a friend to Rhino, he was a friend, I think he got along with Vulture, and he's now getting along with Scorpion. I like their dynamic because, like, yeah, they both suffered from Cassidy and they're kind of dealing with it. Even though Mac is like, I fucking hate this. Like, I have to work with the kid. Great, nice, but there's also the second Electro, the female one, and Taskmaster, and a new character called Hightail, which Cody Ziegler's hyping up in the recent story arcs with Miles. Iron Man doesn't really show up to the Hail Mary hour when Cassidy's full plan is revealed. What is his whole plan? Well, his plan is to use Stark Tech and infect it with his symbiote and infect the minds of everyone across the world, across the globe, with his, like, madness. Kind of like the anti-life virus from Deceased. In fact, that was the first thing I thought of with this, was like, this is a goddamn anti-life virus, because it infects phones, you look at it, you go nuts. It's like, it's the goddamn anti-life virus. The action's pretty good. The action is really good. Kenneth, Cletus's shall we say, court jester, as he calls himself, is a serial killer, and he's just been kind of a whiny bitch this whole series, and his ending to his story is good. Like, did Carnage really need a serial killer to just bully? I don't know. I guess that was kind of like the something that the morality of the writers wanted to play with, was he's a serial killer, but he's being bullied by an even worse serial killer. Don't you feel bad? I'm like, no, I don't. That's the fast answer. No. Iron Man is treated like when Tony shows up as Iron Man in here, and keep in mind, he doesn't have his company anymore. What else is new? And we have the Stark Sentinels here, and what Cletus does with them is kind of like Big Boss kind of thing at the end. But yeah, I'm not the biggest I like Iron Man, but I'm not like too much. I will, like Chris said, he's sending me the new story arc for Jerry Duggan's Iron Man comic, which sounds cool, and it does have some references to that run in here, so that'll be cool to get some reference there. But really, like, it's treated like when Captain America showed up at the 11th hour to help Spider-Man in Carnage Reigns, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't a mistake either. So, all in all, it's fun. That's really what it is. Seeing Normie Osborn with his Red Goblin costume, and like, oh my god, it's Spider-Man, and like, that's kind of cool that like Miles is being seen now by other heroes as like a big deal, and not seen as a problematic asshole like in the current Amazing Spider-Man books. Guys, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you don't like what's going on in Spider-Man, here's how you change it. Just don't read it. Just read Miles Morales books. Like, once they see, like, Miles Morales gets more I'm pretty sure Miles gets more views than, reading-wise, than Peter right now, because of not so much, well, the writer isn't blameless, but Nick Lowe, the editor, is the real villain here. And the whole editorial staff for The Amazing Spider-Man. Anyway, so, do I recommend Carnage Reigns? It's dumb, stupid fun, but it does have some nice horror elements, too, so if you want some spooky event, here you go. It's nothing groundbreaking, but none of these Carnage events are, really. So there you go, guys. That's my review for Carnage Reigns. Hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.